Hello friends! Today we're going to take another look at our alphabet book. This is the front cover, back cover, and the title. The title of this book is Alphabet Book. And this is the spine. Now, just like our big book of poems, this book also has a whole bunch of poems, but these poems are all alphabet poems. And when I open it up, I see the title page. That's just to remind you of the title in case you forgot. And when I turn the page again, I see a special place called the Table of Contents. The Table of Contents tells you where to find things. Today, we will be looking at 2 letter poems for the letters S and T. Before we look at them, let's talk a little bit more about those letters. Just like you and I have names, letters have names too. And when we write our names, we use an uppercase letter. Each letter has both an uppercase and a lowercase. Before I write these letters down, I want to remind you this is the sky, the grass, and the ground. All right, friends, let's start with the letter S. For letter S, I start a little below the sky, curve and touch the grass, curve and touch the ground. He's kind of like a slippery, slidey snake. For lowercase s, I start a little below the grass, curve and again, curve, 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 and touch the ground. Now, my friends, let's talk a little bit about these letters. What do you notice about the letter S? This is uppercase S and lowercase s. You're right. Uppercase S is bigger, but they both look exactly the same. They're both made of one curvy, snaky line, and their snaky line curves around and around. All right, friends, let's look at our next letter. I'm going to write the letter T. For the letter T, I start in the sky, vertical line down, and then horizontal line across the sky. For lowercase t, I start in the sky, straight down, and a tail on the ground, and then a horizontal line across the grass. This is the letter T. What do you notice about uppercase T and lowercase t? You're right. Uppercase T, it looks kind of bigger. They both start in the sky, but lowercase t has a little tail on the ground, and the horizontal line doesn't go in the sky. It goes in the grass. All right, friends. Now, before we move on, I do have to tell you about the letter T. Sometimes people will write their lowercase t with a vertical line that goes straight down and a horizontal line across the grass. That's also correct. But the reason why Miss G likes the tail is that way people don't get confused and think that this could be a plus sign. So, for me, I like the fancy little tail. Okay, friends, now let's look at both letters. What do you notice? Well, they don't really look alike at all. S is full of curvy lines and T is full of straight lines, and some people like to write their lowercase t like this, and so it really is just all straight. But I guess if you put the tail like Miss G, then it has a tiny curve, but they don't look very much alike at all. Now that we know a little bit about the letters S and T, let's read some poems about them. Remember, we can check the table of contents to see where we can find them. I see the letter S is going to be on page 40, and the letter T is going to be on page 42. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to the poem for our letter S. And remember, before we start, it's always good to make some observations. What do you notice about the illustrations on this page? What do you see? You might say, I see a mom and a boy, and the boy's in a bathtub. And it looks like he has a whole bunch of toys. What kinds of toys do you see? I see a seahorse and a sailboat, a submarine, a seal, and a ducky. What else do you see? Well, there's some soap and a sponge. I think there's shampoo. He has a towel on a stool and some slippers, and it looks like his clothes are hanging on a hook. Wow, we made a lot of really great observations. I think we're ready to read our poem about the letter S. I see a sub in my tub, and a squeaky, smiling seal, a seahorse with a saddle, and a sailboat with a wheel. I know it's kind of silly to sit and soap and sing, but a sailor in a bathtub can dream most anything. That sure was a fun poem about things that start with the letter S. Let's look at our poem for the letter T. And remember, before we read it, let's make some observations. What do you notice? You might say, I see a hippo, and it looks like she hung up her scarf and her jacket on this hook, and her bag is over here, and she's standing in front of a mirror and holding onto a bar. What do you notice about what she's wearing? You're right, she has a tutu and ballet slippers and a bow. It looks like she might be a ballerina. Let's read about her. Tutu Tess has tiptoe toes. She's tall and very sweet. Tess wears a dress with tiny bows and toe shoes on her feet. That was such a fun poem. All right, my friends, let's play a game. Every time you hear a word with a t, I want you to pretend that you're Tutu Tess, and we're going to stand up on our tiptoes, okay? So let's see. We can have one arm up. We're ready, friends? Tutu Tess has tiptoe toes. She's tall and very sweet. Tess wears a dress with tiny bows and toe shoes on her feet. I'm so glad we read that. I have so much fun reading all those alphabet poems together and talking about letters. I love reading poems with you. You're amazing. I'll see you again later.